I am Linda.
And I am Betty.
We are cultural midwives and a force for change using applied, practical spirituality. We've been friends and colleagues for over 35 years. We will talk about wisdom practices we use in daily life. Our overview. This is our second podcast. The topic is basic and so important for each of us, clearing techniques. What are clearing techniques? Why do they matter? How do we clear? We'll share practices and processes you can use in daily life at home, work, and play.
Clearing techniques are something that has kept me sane, for want of a better word, particularly working in a hospital, working in corporate, in the military. And if I didn't have clearing techniques, heaven knows what I would have said or done, which might have been very highly inappropriate in some instances. And for those of you who have been in these situations, which I suspect are most of you, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So I was talking for a second here about corporate life. I did run a home healthcare agency for a while, which was really an eye-opener. And in our office, one of the things that I was always careful to do was to get some sage to clear the energy in the office. Now, the office, we had two offices. One was mine. One was the larger room where all the nurses were, nurses' aides, etc., and they'd be coming and going, coming and going. However, for those of you who are familiar with burning sage, you realize that that is probably not going to happen in that situation.
Yep, that's difficult.
Yeah. I have a vision of smoke alarms going off, sprinkler systems going off, fire engines running down the street, not
General chaos, not what we intend. Yeah.
That's correct. Totally the opposite of what we intend. So I did find a very good alternative, and it is a spray. You can purchase sage spray. Works just as well to change the energies. There are various places that you can get it. One of them would be the Twin Star Apothecary, and I'm going to repeat that because their products are gorgeous. Twin Star Apothecary. You can also purchase it online from various vendors. But I would spray the rooms, morning and evening when I left, just to clear things out. So first thing when I got in the morning, and then when I was leaving for the day.
Mm-hmm.
You could actually feel a shift in the energy. This is also something you can use when you travel. You go to a hotel room. God knows who was in that hotel room before you and what was going on. We'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
You can use it in your home if someone may have asthma and may be allergic to the smoke. It doesn't do well for them. Any place where you can smudge, you can use a spray. And I really encourage you to find a company that has a good, ethically sourced sage spray.
Thank you. That's really important. Now, I want to jump in because you mentioned smudging. It's very possible that some of our folks don't know what smudging is. So I'm going to tackle that. Yeah, I want to tackle that for a minute because one of the techniques that we learned very early on, and Betty and I have studied with a variety of teachers, but this is true in many indigenous cultures across the world. There are various herbs that are local, that are burnt, and the smoke itself helps capture and dispel any, we'll call it stuck energy. And so part of what we're talking about in this podcast is clearing. Smudging is one of the most typical ways that many cultures around the world use. The way we were taught was to take sage and maybe sweetgrass and to use some kind of safe burning vessel, light it, and there'd be a flame. We'd then blow on it to release the smoke. And then you can direct the smoke around your body, around a room, or around an outside space if you want to clear areas around your house, for example.
And I might add that our teacher, Oshana, had actually taken this into a laboratory experiment and found out that the reason why this was working was because it was dispelling the positive ions, which are really the ones that are not good for you, and bringing in the negative ions, which are the ones that are uplifting, making you feel good, um, well centered and grounded. So
Mhm.
there is a scientific reason behind all this.
And our ancestors and various others have known this for thousands of years.
Yes.
So, and I've used it successfully in many, many, many different situations, in order to clear out energies. Let's say there's been, in a family, there might be some arguing that goes on. That happens from time to time. Afterward, once things have settled down a little bit, I'm going to open a window and I'll do a little bit of smudging. Or if I want to use a spritzer, like the sage spritzer that Betty's talking about, I would use that to help just clear the air and for myself and the energy of the room to just feel better.
It really makes a huge difference. And there are many things that you can use
Hmm.
to bring the smoke around. You can use a feather.
Yep.
When I tell people when they are selling their house, you need to clear the energy in the house
Hmm.
before people start coming to look.
Hmm.
And you have to go around that whole house. You have to go to every nook and cranny, all the closets, all the cabinets. Just clear everything out as best as you can. And it will make a difference. It'll shift the energy in the house. So when people are coming in to look, they're like, wow, this is really a nice little house. I kind of like this.
Totally agree. And, that's one of the things that we were taught that I found to be true too, is sometimes that energy accumulates in the corners and various places. So it's great to have, maybe you have a whisk broom. You could use the whisk broom to whisk that smoke out and about. You can use a feather if you're someone who, works with that. Um, and that brings up another interesting point too, because another way that we can clear our own personal energy is using a feather just to wave from the top of our head down across the center of our body, down to our feet, across our shoulders. And that will begin to help clear too. Now, in a business setting, that may not be the wisest approach, but if you're doing some clearing for yourself personally, it's really lovely.
Back in the day, when everybody smoked, you could always go and take a smoke break and just kind of get yourself,
Yeah.
as our Native American friends say, they'd be out praying to Great Spirit, right? Smoking a cigarette. However, since we don't have those today, I
Mm.
suggest that you go to the ladies' room or the men's room or whatever room you're using
Mhm.
just to get out of the situation that you're in and clear your field. And there are many ways to do this. You're right. You can use a feather. You don't, if you have your spray, perfect. You can spray that around yourself.
Mhm.
However, if you just have the feather, like you said, take the feather, brush it down front and back, just clearing away all that energy that you don't need. Make a nice, clear, set field around yourself.
I love that. And, it's important to remember in our first podcast, we talked about grounding. And so, grounding, which is the act of re engaging your awareness of your body with the energy of the earth, grounding and clearing are two of your best friends. So, clearing, if you're in a business setting, and both Betty and I have been for many decades in different parts of our lives, sometimes that's a little trickier. You're not going to whip out your feather. But if you're sitting in a cubicle and you have a lavender spritzer, lavender's another great clearing tool, right? That is scented and with good, high quality, ethically sourced lavender, and you happen to spritz it around yourself, you may find some of your colleagues coming over to go, wow, that smells really great. What is that? This is really interesting. So lavender, sage, sweetgrass, they're all really potent for helping to clear energies. Um, it gets really interesting, because I know for me, I've studied herbalism now seriously for about 10 years. And I classify myself as a community herbalist. Um, and so in the process of doing that, I've actually opened that door a little bit in my corporate life. I actually have been asked to and have shown herbs for stress, for example. Who doesn't feel stressed? So I've been able to impart a little bit of that knowledge. So if I were to pull out a spritzer that was sage spritzer in my business life, people would just say, oh, she's doing her herbal stuff again. So there are different ways that we can go about it. Betty, I know you were talking about before we started here, you were talking about a particular arm and hand and clearing technique that I think is really a good one to have in your back pocket.
I have to tell you, I use this frequently. I'd be in a meeting and some of the stuff coming up. I remember, especially in a hospital setting, you have
Oh.
all these egos, let me tell you. Unbelievable, right? Some of the stuff that came up would be like, oh my God, that is crazy, absolutely crazy. But I'd be like keeping my face calm and like, okay, fine. I'm like, I'm not letting that get anywhere near me. And we need to clear all of this so people can get back to what's really important. So, what I would do is I'd take my hands and I'd lean back in the chair, place my hands on my head. And by leaning back and putting your hands on the back of your head, your elbows are out. You look like you have two little wings coming out, right?
Mhm.
You are actually opening up your field so that you can project love and light through your heart chakra to the room. However, you have opened yourself up, so you've got to close yourself because who knows what's coming next, right? So you take your hands, you lift them up, still joined, bring them down to the front of you. Clear that heart chakra, especially bring it down through all your chakras, and then put your hands on your lap. Don't forget, shake them out a little bit before you put your hands on your lap, because anything you may have accumulated, you want to get rid of. And it's amazing what happens. You'll see a shift, a real shift in the room when you do that kind of thing. I have found it to be extremely effective, and I've used it frequently. It's just part of something I do without even thinking about it. Even in the military, that was, I can remember being in a tent one time at a staff meeting. I'm thinking, oh my God, these people. You know, any of you who have been in the military, you understand that to move a piece of paper from one desk to another, you need at least 9 forms to fill out in triplicate and have somebody else sign them, right? So to bypass all that stuff, a lot of times I would just try and clear the energy of the meetings so that we could just get down to what was really important instead of little dit 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 that was going on.
Mhm.
That technique works very well. Nobody questions what you're doing. No one.
I
Yeah.
love that, and I've used it in business meetings, and let's talk about something that we're gonna bring up in a different podcast, which is, what about family dynamics? What about those difficult family dinners? Well, this is not only good for business, this is good for those family dinners too. Don't you worry, we're gonna have a whole other podcast on the dynamics of family and, family dinners, how to transact and stay sane during those.
How to navigate the holidays. That's going to be
Yeah,
a really, really good podcast. I'm already
yeah.
coming up with ideas for that one.
Yes, we are. All right. Well, this is good. Well, I have something that I use often too. And I also, as you know, I also teach and do various things. And this is something that I use. Golden light is somewhat protective. And so remember, in the grounding podcast, one of the things we talked about was our energetic body and how think of it as being an egg shape about a foot or two above and beyond and all around and below your body. It not only, that energy body, not only exists outside your body, but it also interpenetrates your body too. Think of it as being like dynamic, beautiful sunlight that's just shining all through and around you. So when I start to feel depleted in a meeting or in a family situation, or I start to feel like I'm kind of clogged in a way energetically, what I will do is I will send a beam of golden light from my heart down through my feet. So just take a moment and try this on. Settle in on your body, listen to what I'm saying, and visualize with a picture as much as you can. Imagine that you have this really nice broad beam of golden sunlight that's going through from your heart all the way through the front and back of you, down through your legs into the earth. Yeah, there you go. Good. Now imagine that you have a similar beam of golden sunlight coming up through your chest, your throat, through the middle of your head, around to the back, and up into the sky. Yeah, there you go. And now just imagine that that's being filled out in front, from side to side, top, bottom, and particularly in the back. Imagine that golden light streaming out all around you, making this wonderful sort of golden shield or golden, oh, just light around you. All right, now notice how you feel now after that brief 1 minute of golden light visualization. Betty, do you feel any different?
I do.
Mm.
Yeah, I've used this since you taught me this technique
Mm,
not too long ago.
yeah.
It's one of my new favorite things to use, and it works pretty well. I've been in a couple of really stressful situations lately,
Mm-hmm.
and it has really helped me to just let everything go. Because here's the thing, you have to think of yourself like you're a satellite, okay? And there you are out there, like floating around, floating around, floating around. And what's in your field? A bunch of debris from other
Mm-hmm.
satellites, from stars exploding, whatever. There's
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff out there. You
Mm-hmm.
need to wipe that away
Yeah,
because if you don't wipe it away, it's going to absolutely clog you up. And that is what causes you to start feeling anxious, scattered, and the rackaroo in your head is amplified 10 times over. You don't want to get to that point. You need to
totally
clear
agree.
yourself.
Totally agree. So this golden light visualization or grounding, meditation, whatever you want to call it, put it in your back pocket and use it. And notice how you feel before and afterward. And will be very curious to hear what you have to say about it. Good. All right. Uh, I think that we've covered family life a bit, how to clear your home, how to clear your space in general. We've offered up techniques through smoke, through spritzers, through feathers, through visualization, through body movement. I especially love the one with the hands behind your head there with the elbows akimbo and just bringing that energy down. I think that's really, really good. Um, and so can you think of anything else that we want to share right now?
The only other thing I would consider is taking something called 5-flower essence.
Oh, here, here. That
And
is my favorite.
it's a flower essence developed by a gentleman, a physician, and his name was Dr. Bach, B-A-C-H.
Mm-hmm.
He developed the Bach flower remedies, and his is called Rescue Remedy, so you can get it under that title or under 5-flower essences. And it is not something that you smell. What it does is it's taken the energy of a couple of different flowers to help you calm down like instantly, and it does work. So if all else fails and you really feel like you're jumping around like things are not working, take a couple of drops of that and put it under your tongue.
This is one of the best advice I think we can offer you. We're going to be doing a whole other podcast on flower essences, 5-flower essence, and various things. But I know my personal favorite for this, because it's easy to carry and it's easy to just pop one of these in my mouth if I'm in a business or other kind of setting, is with the Bach flower remedies. They have what are called rescue pastilles, pastilles. It is the most trusted and most sold natural stress relief remedy in the world. So I I love it because it's doesn't have an alcohol content. It comes in various flavors, but you just like taking a little mint or something. You just take a pastille and it will immediately start to help you and your body cope better. And what does it do? It begins to modify our filters a little bit. It allows us to feel the emotion that we're feeling, but not feel overwhelmed by it.
Yes. Yes, it's extremely effective.
Yeah.
Extremely effective. I've also put that in a spritzer
Ah,
and
yeah.
sprayed it around the room.
Great idea. Mhm.
So we'll talk more about that, I think, in our next podcast
Yeah, I do too.
so
Yeah.
that you'll have a little more information on that. But we've given you quite a few things to think about here. And one of the ways that you can communicate with us and let us know whether all these things are being helpful to you is by going to our Facebook page or Instagram page or Twitter. And it's Two Crones and a Microphone. Again,
Mhm.
Two Crones and a Microphone. And please let us know if you have any particular technique that you like that works really well for you. And we'll probably include it in one of our podcasts and give you credit for it. So there you go.
There we go. I like this. So now, what's your wisdom practice? Two wise crones say, this is your wisdom practice to put into action. Clear yourself daily using your preferred technique and let us know how that works out. Just as Betty said, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you'll know it's us because we have a wonderful logo that our friend Francine designed for us with 2 owls and a microphone with a few flowers.
It's lovely. It's so cute. And it's happy because our purpose here is to help you navigate the muddy waters of today. And what better way to do that than by learning how to smile again? Let's smile. Even if you don't feel it, smile. It will definitely help.
Take care until the next time.
Hi, if you're enjoying Two Crones and a Microphone, please like this video and hit the subscribe button. Enjoy timeless wisdom from modern times, all served up by women in the know.